What's up, people? It's your boy Profection back again. Um, this is my Profection 2019 video. So this is kind of like a video that is kind of it's almost like I've built a house, but there's certain areas of the house. It's the first time I walked into the house now, and I'm looking back and I'm saying, wait a minute here, that's not 100% right. It looks good. It looks good. The house looks good, but there's certain areas that I should have done that. I should have, and then I quickly run into my van and I get out some tools and I've come back and I'm just going to quickly fix those parts. And that's what this video is about. I'm pretty much happy. I am happy with the content I put out there. Some of it is harsh or this or that, but it's me being real. If you're sitting down in a room with me, you know what I'm about. I'm exposed. I'm bare. You know what I mean? I haven't I never went into the story of me as a child and certain things I went through and blah 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 blah, because I've already been there and done that way before I came onto the internet. That's why I never kind of dealt with those kind of things. There are people online doing those things, and that takes balls. Believe me, it takes balls. I mean, I did it on an internet site that were just left out there. It was hard to find. Basically, it wasn't, YouTube. You're exposed, you're laid bare here. So for those that are suffering mental health and they're going through stories of childhood abuse and neglect and all of those kind of things, and how that some of them were, may have been sexually molested and all that kind of stuff, you've got a lot of balls. So this video is just clearing up, filling those holes, those gaps that I kind of left out. The first thing I want to say is not everything is black and white. Okay, so if a relationship ends, it doesn't necessarily mean it ends because that person was bad, she was bad, or that the relationship ended because he was bad. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes relationships don't work out. Okay, sometimes marriages don't work out. Not everything is black and white. Okay, sometimes it's just how it is. Things don't always work out. However, if you're in a relationship where someone is controlling, because there are some sort of, I don't want to be harsh about it, there are some sort of like sadists, narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, and they will try to force women into relationships. The women can't escape, they'll threaten to kill them and all of that. You can clearly say that dude is bad, and women do these things too. Emotional blackmail, you can clearly say she is bad, she was the bad person in the relationship. But there's no such thing as a bad relationship other than that, because if you're in a relationship you don't like, get the hell out of it. No one's forcing you to stay. Most relationships are no different than your garden. Okay, I may jump out there tomorrow, I may spend 8 hours in my garden. I put in a hell of a lot of work to make that thing look nice, to make it look presentable and beautiful so people want to go out there and sit in the garden and everything else. But guess what? 3 days later, though, it's going to start to grow back again. A week later, it might start to look a mess again. So relationships is almost like a garden. You have to continuously get out there and put in effort in order to kind of, in order for that garden to bloom, to stay healthy, you need to get out there and you need to maintain it. Relationships have to be maintained. Okay, it's not a one-sided thing. I don't reach out to people as much as I should do, but people know that every time they've come around to my house, I make that up to them by being hospitable, by being a good host and making sure that they're taken care of. I listen to them, so I don't reach out as much as I should do, but I do give back once they're here by trying to make them feel comfortable. What other stuff is there? On the last subject yesterday, I said certain women are in relationships with guys that they don't really love or care for. I think that there's certain women that are in relationships with guys where they're using them as a trophy. That's one reason. Sometimes it could be their relationship with guys because they're bored and no one else, they can't find any, that person there just filling a void, a gap between, until they find someone better. It could be on the rebound. You know, so just clarify that. I do believe in my heart that some women are just use men, where I think your average genuine guy is in a relationship with a woman because he truly wants to be with her. There's no kind of hidden agenda here. What else is there? There's also on the nofap, you will have, there will be times when you're on the nofap or when you're giving up most addictive things, urges come in. What was I going to say? Urges come in. What would I use to describe it? When you're giving up anything, basically, you will have urges that will come back every now and then, but urges don't last forever. They come in waves. Urges come in waves. Okay, so when you are experiencing that kind of withdrawal symptom, just say to yourself, right, it's not going to last forever. It may last for, they say normally it lasts for about half an hour. Some urges with me lasted for about 4 hours, so I had to battle that for 4 hours. But they do subside, they do dissipate. So when you're going through whatever urge or withdrawal symptoms, know that they do dissipate. And again, like I've always said, have some sort of lesser evil there so that you can switch over to it. You know, I had a conversation the other day with my sister and a friend about computer games, that they in itself release dopamine, serotonin. They are as addictive as drugs. That's why I always said to people, you know, maybe play a computer game. When I was going through my withdrawal symptoms, I was playing computer games, and I was addicted to them, and my mind was just elsewhere. It just wasn't on the drug or the nofap or whatever it was. That's why, you know. But I hope that clears it up. Withdrawal symptoms, they come in stages. Find a lesser evil. When you're there and you're experiencing it, it will dissipate that way. Whatever you're experiencing, know that, and you will eventually develop a higher tolerance. And once you get past 3 weeks, you'll find anyway. What else is there? I think that's pretty much it. What videos did I go through? I went through the slanderer, nofap, the bums. I think that is pretty much it. That's just random. I don't think there's any other videos where there's anything I really needed to clear up. I think that's pretty much put it all out there. I'm going into 2019. It does feel good to know that I've got a lot of things off my chest. I will definitely make sure you have my word that to every negative video I now put out, that there will be 9 positive videos. But I felt that I had to get the blueprint, who I am, get it out there into the world, you know, so let people know how I think, you know, when I walk into rooms. And it was important to me. You know, it was almost like a project that I had to finish. I have finished it, and I do feel better. I feel a lot better. At least you know what I'm about. If you come into contact with me and I'm sitting down in a room and I'm quiet and you're thinking, what's going on? It won't be because I'm judging anyone. I think that's another important thing to say, is that I think I've said it in the start of this video. There's nothing that I've said that's directed at one person. It's just generally how I see things. You know, it's not, someone may be sitting down and thinking everything is projected at them and I'm using them as example. Trust me, I'm not. And I myself have done many things. You know, I get that's one thing I was going to say actually, is that it was relating to children. Let's see how much time I got. Right. So basically, it was relating to children. Back when I was 15. I remember going into a place called Laser Quest in Croydon. Now that place is called, it then turned into a pool hall, and now it's turned into something else, maybe a gym. I think it's a gym now as we sit down here talking. But when it was Laser Quest then, I remember going there, and it was quite a nice place. They had arcade machines. You could pay your £5 to do a half an hour on Laser Quests, and people walking around with guns, and it was fun. Basically, I was 15. But I remember going into the Laser Quest toilet, and I remember being there with a friend, and I remember urinating all over the basins, urinating all over the floor. I remember laughing as I was doing it. And I look back then and I think, why did I do something like that? It was terrible. But the real reason why I done it is because I just didn't care at the time. I felt everyone was against me. Everyone was no one loved me, no one cared for me. And I just had nothing but hatred towards the world. So I just didn't care. I didn't care about how the feelings of the staff or the manager felt. And the reality of it is, those managers and the staff were good to us. It's not like they were bad people. They generally were good to us, made us feel at home and everything else. But because I felt the world, just I was 15 as well at the time, is that because I just felt like I wasn't loved, no one gave a damn, no one cared. I just didn't care. I just didn't care. And in regards to children, it's sad because some children have been neglected, some children have been abused, some children have experienced domestic violence. That's why I preached about domestic violence. When I was young, I saw my mother being beaten, being thrown through a window, being thrown over a table, all of those kind of things. I experienced a lot of things. I'm not going to go into it. And it did have effects on how me growing up and me developing it as a mature adult, as a man, and things like that. And what I'm saying is that certain children, they go through a horrible childhood, and they've been beaten up as a child, and then they become like me. They're in laser quests and they're urinating, they're doing silly things on the street, and they just don't care. And I saw a video where these teenagers punched an old man in the face, sparked him out. I don't know. It was the most devil worshipping thing I've ever seen, really. But I wouldn't have done something that is as extreme as that, but I can understand it. What happens is you get some people have been beaten up so badly as a child, or so neglected and abused and all of that, that they get to a point where they just don't care. And this is where it gets sad, because people then see them in the street as an adult, as a young adult, and they see how they're behaving, and things just get worse for them. They don't get better. Now 21 years old, they're in prison, maybe on the news, and someone's saying, oh, that child is such an evil little bastard, and he's this, and he's just evil, and I hope he hangs, and they should bring back the death sentence and things like that. But what they don't realize is that it happened, it all came from somewhere. He didn't just wake up that way. He was abused as a child, or she was abused, and they just didn't care. They just gave up, basically, and then unfortunately things just went even more downhill for them. So I think people need to take that into consideration sometimes when you're dealing with certain when you come into contact with, I'd say, young adults, because as an adult it can be hard to reverse the damage that's done. But when you see a young teen doing it, understand why some of them are doing it, and that is pretty. I was going to say something else about yesterday. No, I think that pretty much sums it up. I'm heading into 2019. I do feel good. I've released a lot of the things, at least a lot of frustration about certain things that were built up, that were, sorry if it was harsh. And the last thing I'll say is that remember that there is no ultimate truth except for the Bible. So everything that I say really is a lie. Like I said in my very first video, that it's just an episode of EastEnders, really. It's just drama. I wouldn't take anything that I say literally. The only thing you should be reading is the Word of God, really. And the same thing for YouTube. When you go into these YouTube videos and people are saying this and they're saying that, they're trying to indoctrinate you into their way of thinking. What I would say about the stuff that I've said is think about it, apply it to your life, or just throw it in the garbage, really. Throw it in the bin. It doesn't mean anything. It's rubbish. You know, it's just entertainment. It's just something to get you by when you're at work, or if you're sitting down, you've got too much time in your hands. Don't take anything I say seriously. Only the word of God is the truth, and I'm not God. Okay. Thank you for listening. Have a good time in 2000. Well, prepare yourself for 2019. I'm not going to say I celebrate this or celebrate that, or even celebrate birthdays. I need to clear that up. But have a good. Prepare yourself for a good year, and I hope you're doing well. Thank you for listening. Peace.